Hi, I'm Kelly Holmes and I'm the National School Sports Champion. Under the new Ofsted inspection scheme, the visit of an inspector is less intimidating than it used to be. In this programme, we take an inspector back to a school in Northamptonshire to gain an insight into the sort of things that contributed to the school's high performance.
John Helen's Primary School is the greatest of them all.
Whilst Ofsted Inspector Howard Todd might not have gone quite that far in his praise, he was sufficiently impressed with John Helen's Primary School to give them an outstanding rating after his physical education subject inspection in February 2006. On paper, the school had already assessed itself as being good, so Howard's evaluation came as a vindication for head teacher Mike Langrish and his staff.
Well, I would hate to say that PE and sport have a higher priority than anything else, but we do believe that PE plays a very, very important part in the life of our school. We think it's very important from the point of view of maintaining children's health, but we also think there are lots of other skills that can be gained. Cooperation, the idea that children can excel, the idea that children can face challenges, the idea that children can improve. And we generally find that when children excel in a subject like PE, it has a knock-on effect for all sorts of other things as well. So although we'll do the conventional sports such as football and cricket and also gymnastics, we also believe that it should encompass things like dance, outdoor pursuits, cycling, swimming. There's a broad range of things. There's a PE activity for every child, no matter what their shape or size.
The physical education coordinator at John Helen's School is David Tebbert. Observing a gymnastics lesson like this one, Howard Todd considered it encompassed many of the positive attributes that he was looking for.
Before we start any physical activity, what do we need to do? Jamie?
Warm up.
We need to warm up, don't we, okay? And we're going to get our hearts beating first.
The teacher involved took the opportunity to warm the children up well and used, as well as aerobic exercise, opportunities for stretching and strengthening, often areas that are missed out in typical sort of physical education lessons.
I think that is important. The children, they're year 5 and 6, 9, 10, 11, they do need to, at this age, need to understand the concept of why they are warming up. I do introduce a learning objective after the warm-up. I felt a couple of times I'd given the learning objective before the warm-up, and that wasn't, they'd forget the learning objective by the time we got onto the main teaching. This time I'm going to teach you what counter tension means, and you're going to create 2 really high quality balances for me. We're going to put them into the sequence.
The learning in the lesson was clearly identified at the beginning. There was a clear purpose for the work, and the children came out knowing something, perhaps, that they didn't know when they entered through the door.
Very good. Cool, I've just seen some fantastic examples there.
It was obviously very good to see the teacher's subject knowledge and the way in which that was interlocked with the children's learning. Children were clearly involved in thinking about what they were doing and making informed decisions for themselves. But that equally, there was something in there which was about the teacher knowing the correct questions to ask and how to get the children to respond with the next sort of bite-sized step, if you like, in their learning. And that was very effective, and I think that only comes through secure subject knowledge.
Could you release this hand here? That's better. Keep the stretch tension. Keep leaning back. Good girls. And relax. Well done. Very good. I always think with gymnastics it's very difficult to understand what your body's doing when you're not looking at it. Peer assessment is a very, very good way of assessing one another and looking to move each person forward with their movements. What do we like about that, class 4? Get your hands up. Paige, what do you like about it?
That backs aren't bent.
Backs are nice and straight, aren't they? Is there anything they could improve upon, do you think? I think before you start doing self-assessment, the children need to be fully grounded on peer assessment, and you can't really self-assess if you can't peer assess.
I think that the use of peer assessment, which was the focus of part of the gymnastics lesson, was clearly evident in the way in which the children were able to pick up on each other's ideas, not so much in a critical sense, but more in the sense of being informed of what they needed to do to make further progress. And it's through that analysis and that careful observation that I think was leading to some of the significant learning gains and the higher standards being achieved in some of the work that was evident.
I think it's time that we actually move forward with this and use the apparatus with these sequences.
It was refreshing to see all the large apparatus being used in the lesson. And it may be teachers playing safe in front of Ofsted inspectors that I seldom see large apparatus being used. But in this particular lesson, I thought the teacher extended the work from the floor onto the apparatus particularly successfully and was able to use the climbing frame, the stools, the benches, in particularly effective ways. And that, again, promoted continuity in the lesson. It sort of allowed the work to develop, as it were, and gave it a further extension, which the children themselves found particularly motivational, I think.
Cooperation, self-esteem and teamwork. PE is a fantastic resource to develop these. That's it. Point chosen. Keep your ankles together, all up. Your ankles together. Well done.
So I can see prior to that lesson what has gone on before. There was an ease of relationship between the teacher and the children, and between the children and their peers. We saw it in the peer assessment and how confident they were with each other when talking. Equally, we saw it when they were working practically in moving and carrying apparatus from one place to another, very efficiently and very effectively in the short time that was available.
Very good, everybody. You've worked tremendously hard that lesson.
For swimming lessons, the school goes to nearby Towcester Leisure Centre. The quality and breadth of provision is again demonstrated by the fact that the class is divided into 4 ability groups. Making best use of all available staff, including classroom assistants and a local authority coach, David is able to supervise the beginners, leaving head teacher Mike to work with the advanced group. In between, there are 2 groups of improvers.
In the swimming lesson that I observed, the children were broken up into smaller groups, and very small groups in this case, each working with a different adult. But each adult was very well briefed according to what the children were going to do in the lesson. So there was a real match of ability to task, and because of that, I thought every child was able to progress at a level according to their need, and that was a particular strength of the swimming. So those children, for example, that were the least able were working on tasks that were well suited to their ability, while other children that were competent swimmers were also being extended, simply because they were being given work that was again appropriate to their need.
Whilst the differentiation provided in all areas of PE was a strength of the school, the inspection did identify that one area to develop further was giving pupils themselves a better understanding of how they could improve. John Hellins Primary School was praised for its programmes to increase activity at playtimes and lunchtimes.
We've recently launched the Huff and Puff initiative, which was a national scheme, and it really looked at the whole issue of what children did at lunchtime apart from eat and stand around in the playground, and it gave children the opportunity to take part in some high quality physical activities. It also empowered our lunchtime supervisors, and they valued the training that they got, and I think that they've seen all sorts of benefits from keeping children active and busy.
I was very impressed by the numbers involved. The government's target is for 2 hours of high quality physical education in and beyond the curriculum per week, 85% by 2008. And in this particular school, I would think that 100% of children virtually are achieving their 2 hours of high quality physical education in any one week. There are some informal opportunities to learn. Equally, there are opportunities for older pupils to work alongside younger ones to encourage them and support them in the work. So the notion of them being young leaders and developing sort of social skills was a clear strength in this school as well.
Howard Todd has a lot of sympathy for the position of primary teachers, who inevitably cannot be expected to be experts in absolutely everything. He was particularly pleased, therefore, with the school's professional development programme.
David Tebbott is a PE specialist and an extremely enthusiastic teacher of PE. Every member of staff has benefited from the expertise that David's had, and where David doesn't have that expertise, we've been able to call upon, or he's been able to call upon, other people who've been able to support us. For example, things like dance teaching. Nobody here had a specialism in that, but by using the expertise in our local schools, that's worked very well.
Good, well done on the end. Good. Off you go. Good.
We develop the idea of using outside coaches. We're very selective about who we use because we're conscious that not everybody is perhaps as expert as we'd like them to be. But say, for example, rugby, which is a very technical sport. We're fortunate in Northamptonshire that it's the home of Northampton Saints. And Northampton Saints come along at least once a year and will run a series of coaching courses for us.
In extracurricular opportunity, I look for curriculum enhancement. So it may well be, for example, that the curriculum is restrictive in the time it can provide for children to have a range of opportunities in different activities. And this school provided a very wide range of activity, but equally they were able to staff the after-school activities often with coaches that they brought in from outside, perhaps with additional funding they had through the PESCL strategy, to support some of the learning going on in the school. But a real strength of that was the way in which was managed by the curriculum leader. So the subject coordinator didn't just bring anyone in at any time because they happened to be available, but it was quite part of his development planning and part of his thinking for the development of the children within the school.
In achieving their outstanding performance, John Hellins Primary School had demonstrated a diverse range of high-quality provision both in curriculum time and at break and after school. Clearly defined creative teaching and learning across the programme of study of the national curriculum. And strong leadership, giving rise to commitment by all staff and effective use of outside resources. So at the end of the day, how did everyone feel about the inspection?
I found the day obviously nerve-wracking before the day, and you build yourself up, and it was a chance to show off a bit our skills and strengths, and I was hoping that he was going to highlight some weaknesses that we could develop on. But he did it in a way that wasn't threatening, and it gave us lots of positive praise.
I have to say, I think that by nature it would take a very, very brave person to say that they were outstanding, and for that reason we thought we were pretty good, and when Howard Todd said that we were outstanding, that was wonderful.